And first of all, I congratulate all the businesses who are involved in the manufacturing of steel, which is the integral part of each and every one's life. And steel, I think steel is the uh, if the steel consumption is growing, that means our economy is growing at a very fast pace. So that is a very good indicator. So I congratulate everyone. And presently, I'm looking after construction of underground metro rail, which starts from Kolaba, Parade area to Sheep's Village, and it passes through very congested areas of Mumbai, and like Kalba Devi, Girgaon. If you are aware of must be aware of the geography of Mumbai, and then through airport also BKC, and then MIDC reaches up to Sheep's Village. So this whole drive is about 33.5 kilometer tunnel, and which is one way. So it's 67 kilometers of tunnel, and there are 25 stations along the tunnel. So after every 1 kilometer, 1.5 1 kilometer, there is a station. So as my previous panelist was telling about the consumption of steel, and there are various areas where that steel is consumed. I think that rail was also indicated by Mr. Sharma that rail is also the biggest consumer of steel. So we also will be consuming a lot of steel during this construction as well as during the operation of this metro rail. And here the steel may be consumed at lots of places, but when it's consumed in metro rail, so that's the very visible part of that everyone will be seeing what happens due to steel and what are the infrastructure which are built due to the steel. And as I think the more than 20 lakh passengers will be traveling every day in the metro line, and they will be seeing the infrastructure. So when we are constructing this uh, metro line, the most of the construction is done through most of the tunneling is done through the tunnel boring machine. So tunnel boring machine will be doing it about 54.5 kilometer of drive, and both ways, and that also consumes lots of steel. The tunnel boring machine itself is about 300 metric ton or more than that weight, and it's all made of steel. And then all the segments and all the lining which is being done, that will also consume about 36,000 metric ton of steel in our single metro tunnel. And then when we are going for constructing the stations, the when constructing a station, we go for a top to down, bottom up approach. First, we will dig hole of the cavity, and that is about 22 kilometer depth and about 25 kilometer width and about 250 meter of length. So that generally 250 meter is the length of the station. So that big cavity is being created in the at 25 places in Mumbai, and even that is created in the most congested areas, and where the even buildings are very old buildings, and they are very we can say they are almost in a dilapidated state. They are very old buildings, so we have to be very careful while digging those kind of pits in the congested area. And we are also passing through some heritage buildings like Hutatma Chowk or in the southern Mumbai. So we have to be careful. So while going for that kind of construction, a steel is a major requirement over there, because it's not only that there will be a permanent steel which is required, but when we are digging, if there is at the bottom there may be very strong strata of basalt, but at the top it's a simple, it's not very strong strata, and most of places it's the sand or soft soil or soft rock. So there we have to uh, support the structures outside, and for that we need a temporarily we need some steel for strutting for whalers, and that and even before the digging we have to go for about 700 to 800 piles which so that when you are creating a cavity, the the side soil doesn't collapse, or even the water doesn't ingress inside the cavity. So that that type of steel is consumed in this, and for the only for the second pipe, I think we are consuming about 55,000 metric ton of steel for the reinforcement through the second pipe, and about 65,000 metric ton is consumed only for strutting system and for the whalers, which will be removed once the stations comes up. And all our stations are about 120 years of design life. So apart from steel, we need to do a lots of other things like so that once steel has that rusting has to be avoided to the steel. So to achieve that design life, we have to have other technological handling which needs to be done, especially in Mumbai, where the moisture because of the moisture in the air. So we have to do that kind of treatment to the steel structure. And second is uh, we will be creating lots of like there are 3 floors in the every station, like a 250-meter length and 225-meter width. And there is a base slab, a very thick base slab. Then there is a concourse slab. Somewhere there is a mezzanine slab, and then the roof slab, and the backfilling. So all that also consumes lots of steel, which is about 260,000 metric ton. Reinforcing steel is being used in the station's permanent structures. And just to the although our particular tunnel is 1.58 meter diameter, but some places because Mumbai is a very congested area, so we have to widen the tunnels through the new Austrian tunneling method. So we have to widen the tunnel. We break the tunnel and widen it to about 11 kilometers so that we can accommodate a platform within the tunnel. So there also the some of the lining has been broken and then reinforced with the steel. So there are lots of steel is consumed at each and every place. And as Mr. Sani was saying, telling about the steel frame structures, even we are going for some of the buildings, rehabilitation buildings, uh, which will be made with the steel frame structures, so that we can once the station is over, if we have to accommodate uh, the project affected people, so they can be accommodated as quickly as possible, because they are staying somewhere else and we are paying rent for that, so we want to accommodate them as soon as possible. So we will be using that steel frame structure construction also. And I would it would be lovely to hear this, because we were finding that there are not very large number of builders available for that. But through this conference, I think lots of people, I came to know there are lots of companies who are doing that. So hopefully we'll get a good response in that side also. And we are about now in Mumbai, we have completed about 96% of tunneling, and about our station's civil structure is over about 68%. So we are almost in the as far as civil part is concerned, we are in the final stages of the maybe within 1 year we will be over with all the civil parts, and then the system parts. And as Mr. Sharma was saying, there are lots of rails which are being laid down. We have started laying the rails also. So lots of steel will be consumed in rails, then the manufacturing of rolling stock, and then the for the traction overhead lines for traction, and all these things will be consuming lots of steel. And when we are coming at the final end of this uh, uh, this construction, lots of lots of our our contractors are raising lots of issues, because once we have estimated a particular uh, amount for a particular work, but in the end, when you see that a lot there is exponential increase in steel prices, so that also causes a lot of pain with the contractors, and then they try to renegotiate, and then especially in the public project, it becomes very difficult to renegotiate, and that also is causing some delays also, because they feel the pinch, and especially during the pandemic, when the cash flow is a bit low, so they are feeling the pinch more. So I hope we will get some answers about the price visibility in the future, and during this conference, and which will give the confidence to our contractors and even to all the public sector projects. And I wish everyone all the best. Thank you very much.